Powered by Riverside FM.
Have you ever felt a presence, seen an unexplainable coincidence, or wondered if there's more to reality than meets the eye? This week we're honored to speak with Kevin Hall, author of Signs, The Veil is Thinner Than We Imagine. Join us as we explore profound connections, decode the whispers from beyond, and delve into the astonishing ways the spiritual realm communicates with us daily. Tonight on Newsworthy, 2 words and 2 question marks.
Have you checked the children?
Get out!
You have scoured the podcast world and finally found us, Newsworthy with Steve and Jerry, where we delve into all things mysterious, macabre, or out of this world, and decide if they are truly newsworthy. 2 words and 2 question marks.
Hi, this is Ed Locke with USA Mortgage. Buying your first home can be overwhelming, but here are 5 tips to make the process go smoother. Number 1, find a lender, me, Ed Locke, that can answer any questions you might have and help you get pre-approved. There are multiple options available based on your situation. Number 2, work with a real estate agent you can trust. Number 3, don't rush the process. Take your time and know that the process could take some time. Number 4, consider all the costs. Number 5, get a home inspection and review it with your realtor. Keep these tips in mind, budget for yourself, and you'll be that much closer to making your dream of homeownership a reality. So reach out to me at 502-680-0953. NMLS ID 448908, DAS Acquisition Company, LLC, doing business as USA Mortgage, NMLS ID 227262. This is not a commitment to lend. Additional terms and conditions apply. USA Mortgage is an equal housing opportunity.
Brett's favorite part. Welcome in, fellas. Welcome to Newsworthy. 2 words, 2 question marks. I'm Steve.
I'm Brett.
And I'm Jerry.
Well, we usually go this way.
Yeah,
We
and we
always
have
go
an
that way.
amazing guest with us today. We're just going to bring him in right out of the gate so he can join in all the hooligans and the foolishness. Mr. Kevin Hall is with us. We are so excited to have you back, Kevin. Multiple time guest now. Always
third
welcome. Yeah.
Third time.
Plus, we did a second time. This is his 3rd time plus a repeat.
3rd time live.
3rd time live.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we always welcome. Anytime you have a new project, Kevin, welcome to the show. You're always welcome here, buddy.
Hey, I'm glad to be back, guys. I had so much fun last time. I think I emailed y'all afterwards. I just had a great time. So thank you very much for having me back on.
Always.
Yeah, my stepdad, he listens, and you were his favorite guest. So
about that?
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
You mentioned you emailed us afterwards, and you did, thanking us for the episode and all that. You also emailed us a couple times since then, and you were kind enough to give us dad jokes, of which I have stolen at least 2. So thank you for that.
Oh,
Those were actually Jerry's best ones. Just throwing it out there.
this is coming from the guy who has gotten like 1 laugh in the last year.
Yeah,
No
right.
response.
Who are you talking to? Me? No, my jokes are always top notch.
Now we
And
see
if
why.
If you guys are so lowbrow, you don't understand the elevated height of my humor, I can't help that.
I think your lack of ability
I
to
think
get
it's starting
that
to get deep in here.
Ouch!
joke.
You're supposed to be on my team. Come on now.
I think you just gave away your sense of humor by your failure to get that one.
Wow.
Did you guys see the new corduroy pillows they came out with?
No.
Yeah, apparently they're making headlines.
Oh my goodness.
Uh,
That's good. That's the best one you've had in, I don't know, ever.
well, to keep up with you guys, I used to hate facial hair, but then it grew on me.
I like that. That's a good one.
That is the epitome of Jerry. For, I don't know, a bazillion years that I knew Jerry, he kept a clean face. And then one day he's like, F it, I'm done shaving.
Yep.
Nope. I'll
My
tell
face-
you, I love it, but it does need trimming every now and then.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you're lucky enough to be like Brett, you have to braid your back hair, and he actually wears a sweater all year round.
That's true. That's true. That's why I have to be gone so much. It's a lot of maintenance.
And I
Yeah.
just wish
I
I could
couldn't
grow
do
the
it.
hair on my head.
Yeah, I'm getting there.
I have a bad admission.
What is it?
Apparently, and this is hard for me, but I was addicted to the hokey pokey.
Oh, yeah.
But you, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I turned myself around.
Yeah.
We've done that one like 3 times already.
Now we've done it 4.
See what me and Jerry were right at the beginning of the episode.
Shut your face, Brett.
Yes, we were.
There's a reason your name's not on the banner.
I don't know if you guys know, but you actually don't need any training to work as a garbage collector.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
You just pick it up as you go along.
There you go. There you go.
I don't want to laugh, but damn it, that's funny.
Yeah, laugh at both of you.
Dang it. That sucks.
And you tried so hard to stifle that, I could tell.
I did. See, that's why we've had requests for people to have guests on and to do a dad joke competition.
Which we've done it once.
We did, but I'm at such a disadvantage because I have such a better humor than all of you all, and I found a lot more funny. And Jerry didn't find anything funny, so
Well, you didn't tell the whole story. What people have asked that we do is what some other dad joke people have done, have a competition, which means that if you tell a joke and you get a laugh, you get a point. And from that sense, you have a huge disadvantage because you laugh at everything. He sees 2 birds out here landing on a fence and he's laughing.
Oh.
And me, I'm just,
It's 2 birds.
yeah. Not only that, I'm going to some professional comedian going, when did the joke start?
Yeah.
just rude. Jerry's such a just rude.
Okay.
Just
One
rude.
last one, guys.
Uh-oh,
What do you
too.
call fake spaghetti?
What?
An impasta.
Oh,
like
that's
that.
bad.
It is.
That's bad.
It is.
That's a dad joke.
That's a perfect dad
Dad
joke.
jokes aren't bad.
Yeah, but it's bad. Bad.
But that means we're done now. We can move on.
True fact. True fact. I had a good one that I was going to do, and then I realized that we had done it in the past. So I decided not to do it. And I cheat. I have a whole book I use.
Well, usually I can't tell. Like, Jerry's really good at being like, oh, I know the punchline. That one I knew exactly as soon as you said it.
Oh,
Probably because we've done it so many times.
Maybe that's what it was.
well,
And you say I'm old.
what? You are.
You've
old.
done that joke 3 times and
There's
didn't
like
remember it.
There's like 3 people that I know in this world that's older than you. Methuselah, you know,
Noah.
Noah.
700s.
and you. I mean, your social security number is what, 3?
Better than last week. Last several weeks have been 1.
Yeah.
So I'm doing
I
better.
forgot about my buddy Patricia. Hers is 1.
No,
She's really old. She's older than you.
gotcha. Not many can say that.
So Kevin Hall is with us again. Kevin is an author, amongst many other things. And he had a book that we've talked about. We've kind of touched in a couple of times called The
Veil.
The Veil. Is
Or Signs. I'm sorry. Signs. The Veil
Veil
is
is-
thinner
There you
than we
go.
imagine.
Thank you, Jerry. And that book, we can continue to go deep. He has a new project that he's working on that is it's in the end game, right? It'll be out soon.
Yeah, I'm hoping and targeting more towards October time frame. I've just got to wrap up a couple of things on it, send it over to the editor, and then we're off to the races.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. Doesn't have an official title. Listen to us in the future. I'm sure you'll send us an email as soon as
Yes,
you
I
figure
will.
that out.
Yes, I will.
And we will promote the holy bejesus out of it because it really is. If you are an aspiring author, if you are a author who has a couple of books out and they're just sitting there, that whole book is designed to help you be better, sell more, get and do more. Right?
Absolutely, and do it for little to no cost. And that's the big selling point of it, because there's so many folks out there that will, oh, come with me, take my course and you'll be selling books and you need to do this and that's going to cost you XYZ. I got to tell you, the young authors, and what I mean by young is those just getting started, regardless of what their physical age is, they often have more passion than they do pennies.
Right.
And so this is going to help them out. And that's what I geared it towards.
So my question is, and I'm being very personal when I ask this. It's not just for books, though. You can use these same to promote you, whatever X is, through various things. I already told you when we was just live on Twitch that I'm going to buy a copy just to help promote our podcast even more.
What, your real estate?
Real estate?
Yeah, you can use it for a number of things. There are chapters in it that are just totally book related.
Sure.
But there's other chapters, like I've got 2 chapters in there on podcasting alone. I've got another chapter in there on networking and talking to your college alumni, or even to a local penny saver. People forget about these kinds of magazines. They go out to thousands of homes. Why not a quick little article? And
Sure.
oftentimes there's those little things, and you don't have to pay for them, that will get you more growth to the point to where you can get and realize sales. Then you can take the revenue from those sales, and if you want, start doing like Amazon ads, paying for those and things like that to further expand it. So that's what I've geared this book towards. Keep your money, use as many of these techniques as you can. And I've kept the book there. It's not color other than the cover. That way I can keep the cost way down in the book, and not charge folks a whole lot of money for the book either.
That's amazing. Brett, you were going to say something?
Yeah. So we talked about before the episode that you're self-published. So
Yes.
when you started to realize, hey, I want to write a book, what path did you take to get to the point where you're like, I'm not going to go the traditional route, I'm going to go with self-publishing?
Well, that's an interesting journey, and all authors face it. There's usually 3 or 4 different ways you can publish a book. You can do it the self-published way. You manage everything. If you're lucky enough to get in with a traditional publisher, and if you do, then there's a few things you need to do there too, but that's another way that you can publish a book. Then there's hybrid publishers. And then there's all kinds of little minute changes in that. Folks out there, oh, come with me. And you've probably seen it online, the 1-800 numbers on TV. Oh, write a book in 30 days and we'll get you published. Well, yeah, it's going to cost you a ton of money to do that. And who knows what the editing, and who knows if you're still going to have to market it or what kind of marketing they do. I looked at all of that and said, if I went the traditional route, I'm most likely going to have to get an agent. And then it could take me, if I'm lucky enough to get an agent, it could take me 2 to 3 years to launch a book. That's just to go through all the processing that the traditional publishers want. And after looking at that, I said, no, I have the books ready. I just need to know a few next steps of how to get it launched. And Amazon has been really good in that aspect to many, many people. And guys, I don't mean to scare you here, but there's around 4 million new book titles a year. And when you think about that, and that's worldwide, but when you think about that, you now have to market against that 4 million to get noticed out there. And that takes a
Right.
lot of effort. It also can take a lot of cost. And that's where I'm directing this new book to help them out with that. But Brett,
The same thing.
I was going to say, to get back to your question directly, I made the decision after doing some research that I didn't like the hybrids, definitely. I did not like the traditional because of how long it was going to take me. I went the self-published route because of that.
The competition is very similar with podcast. The difference is there's generally any time between 5 and 6 million podcasts. Of that, though, 10% are active. They'll publish 3 episodes and be done, but they
Yep.
still count. We've been doing this for a long time now, Jerry. We are like old school at this point for podcasting, but but we still have that competition because you still have to. It's not like a book hanging out there. They're going to listen to those 3 episodes and then move on to the next thing. But so anything that we can help to get an edge, to get another listener, we have to listen to. So your book's going to be fantastic for that.
What? And I'm sure like authors kind of face the same.
Yeah.
Like there's 4 million books that get published, but how many of those are actively marketing their book consistently over time? It's
Absolutely. I will tell you, when Jerry and I first started to think about doing a podcast, and this podcast originally started with news and current events or less heard of news, we kind of went back and forth on whether we even wanted to do it. And I was hearkened back, and Kevin, I don't know if you ever listened to the great one, Rush Limbaugh.
Oh, yes.
He had a conversation with Mark Levin. Mark Levin was kind of on the fence about doing a radio show. He had been in television for a long time, and I'm not a huge fan of Mark Levin, but I'll never forget this conversation, and this is coming from Rush. Mark comes to Rush and says, they've asked me to do the 5 o'clock slot on whatever network that they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
But by the time it gets to me, you and Hannity and all these other people have already covered all the things of the day. He said, and Rush tells him, he says, yeah, but we didn't do it how you're going to do it.
Exactly.
And to me, that has stuck with me. That's the reason that Jerry and I persevered. We kept doing the podcast because, there's a million different ways you can talk about Bigfoot, or you can talk about the Veil, or you can talk about whatever, but nobody's going to do it exactly the way we do it. So,
you've got to own it. You've got to make it your own. And guys, I'll just drop a name for you. You're into the podcasting. Alex Sanfilippo. Does that ring a bell?
It does not with me.
Okay. Podmatch.com.
Okay.
All right. He's the creator behind that. He's got a lot of different podcasts out there that talk all about this industry. And he's talking some of the exact same things that you're talking about here, in that you've got to own it. You've got to make it your own. What's in it for the audience as well as for yourself, that will come, but what's in it to draw your audience in this kind of thing. And I get into a bit of that inside of my book also, how to be a good guest, as well as how to find the podcast to be on. So I cover that in the book because that's one thing authors need to do. They have to, first of all, get over their shyness. And I tend to be in the middle between an introvert and an extrovert. But I
know the feeling.
I like to have fun. And
Jerry's shaking his head no. But I am
introverted.
I am very no, you don't understand. I am the most introverted extrovert you will ever meet. And that's I will talk to 150 people and it doesn't affect me not one iota. You put me on a stage, I'll talk to everybody, and like talking to people in a one-on-one situation. You're shaking your head.
I
but
completely disagree because
I
I've
just
seen it.
know
I've seen
you
it.
don't know how hard that is for me. Once I get going, then it's okay. But
Yep,
that
yep.
initial first,
I would say I
it's
am
very
the
difficult for
most
me.
introverted extrovert because of that. Because I am 100% that way. But we just went to a festival, and I tell you what, we wouldn't have gotten one interview if it was for Steve. Going to people and being like, "Hey, you look like you got a story." Like, and he was telling me, he was like, "People want to talk," and I was like, "Oh yeah, you know."
No, they really do.
And he started doing it, and I was like, "Holy crap, they do it!" I mean, it's just like as soon as you'd see him like think about it, they'd stop,
Yep.
they'd think for a second, and then they'd like walk towards us and start telling all these stories, and it was amazing. So,
Kevin, I have a question,
Sure.
and this is a serious question that's facing all authors today, especially good authors. What do you think about AI and how that's going to change what you do or improve what you do?
You're absolutely right, Steve. It is facing all authors. I've been on a lot of YouTube live events. I've been in a lot of seminars, listening in from the audience, and that's one of the number one things that come up over and over again. And I was listening to a person talk about even copyright, and one of the big things you could do in AI that folks are looking at is you can get it to create the cover for you.
Oh, wow.
You may not be able to get it copyrighted because you didn't do it. And in fact, I personally was talking to the guy after the session, and I was asking him that, let's say I use AI just to generate ideas. It gives me some mock-ups, but then I work with my own cover designer and talk to them and tell them about this stuff. And he says, don't send them anything that AI has put out. But if you're using it to generate ideas, then fine, you can talk to them about that as long as they're creating it. Now you can copyright it. But it's a very serious thing. Now, I do use AI. I use ChatGPT. I do not use it to write the book at all, but I
Right.
use it to bounce ideas off from. And that is, well, this is what I'm thinking about, and this is how I want to word it. What do you think from a reader perspective, or what do you think I should do to tweak this to make it more understandable from an editor perspective? And I have it take on the role, and it gives me ideas, and then I take and decide which I like, and then I take and make the changes appropriately. But that's how a lot of authors are doing it now. But that's the other thing that Amazon had to change their rules. They used to allow authors to put as many books up online per day. There was no limit to it. That's because most authors are only going to put one or two. Let's say they're writing a series. Maybe they'll put a third book out there in a day. But AI folks were dumping books 20, 30 a day. So that's when Amazon came out and said, okay, the max is 3 per day.
Yeah.
And
which is still a lot.
It's still a lot. And what's happening is folks are seeing these books, and a number of them, I got to tell you, they're garbage.
Right.
They are garbage. And there's other folks, and again, I go back to a lot of the live events I've been on, and we get into a lot of these kinds of discussions. And one person said, well, I fed my whole manuscript up to AI, and I wanted it edited. When they got the results back, AI had created a whole brand new character and stuck it into the book.
Oh, Lord.
So there's these kinds of things happening. And then there's another thing that a lot of folks use AI for, and I do too, and that's research. It is really good at research, but it has its moments where this is what it's called, hallucinations, and where they don't know what it is, and it just makes up something.
Wow. So let me divert here to Jerry. Jerry works with AI almost exclusively every day of the week because that's his job.
Training AI.
Yeah, he's one of the guys that train AI.
Okay.
Believe it or not.
He's the Mick. He's the Mick of AI.
So tell us a little bit, Jerry, of how, and we don't want to go too deep in the weeds because we want to get back to Kevin's book, but how does that, how smart is AI?
It's incredibly smart for a kindergarten student because it will do incredible things. And then it will turn around, like he just said. One of the huge problems with AI at this point is it wants to help, it wants to answer your question. And it normally will, even when it doesn't know the answer. Like he said, what the industry calls that is hallucination. If it doesn't know the answer, it wants to give you the answer. So it'll make something up.
Wow.
Yep.
And
So-
you have to be really careful, especially like he was mentioning, for the people, the authors who are submitting the entire manuscript and saying, edit it, find all my typos and my grammar mistakes and correct it. It'll probably do that. What it also might do is something as large as inserting a character, hopefully the author is going to find. But did it make other changes?
Yeah.
So
Did
you
it,
better
did
read
it change a character arc or something that you wouldn't
minor
catch if you,
that,
yeah.
that you might not catch unless you
Yeah.
totally reread it. So AI is incredibly good. It's incredibly smart, but it still makes mistakes that we would think if I was in the first grade, I would know better.
Right.
So that's what I meant when I said it's a genius at a first grade kindergarten level.
Well, I think that AI, I think, first of all, Sarah Connor is somewhere looking at us
Sure.
with a very stoic face saying,
When I told you so.
what are you doing right now? You're walking down
Did
this
you
path.
listen to a word that come out of my mouth?
And then you see things like Grok 4, which is supposedly the next level of AI, according to Elon. And Elon's a pretty smart fellow.
Mm-hmm.
So, but then you come back to the authors, the people with blood, sweat, tears, putting their efforts in. There are certain authors, and Brett and my wife and myself and Jerry and you, Kevin, we all have our favorite authors. Speaking of, what is your favorite author, Kevin? Besides yourself, of course.
I like a lot of Thomas Sowell.
Okay.
I don't know how much you've read of him. I mean, he's not an easy read, but he's a
Nope.
very, very intelligent individual. But then I also like to go to the humor side. Peggy Rowe, Mike Rowe, Dirty Jobs guy, his mom.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And she's got 4 books out now, and very, very humorous. And she's well into her 80s. Well in her 80s. Her husband
She's catching up
is
with you,
91,
Jerry.
I believe.
Oh wow.
So I kind of go between all of those. And, Thomas Sowell gives me a lot of facts, and he cuts through a lot of the BS and gets right to the meat of it. But it's still a lot of fact in that meat. And I like that. So it takes me a little bit while longer to read his books compared to Peggy Rowe. I read those more for relaxing and get the humor out of it and that sort of thing.
All right. Well, let's just go around the table. This is a fun fact. What about you, Brett? What's your favorite author?
You just put me on the spot here.
Yeah, well, I mean, it should be pretty easy.
I mean, I'm gonna just show my age, I guess here. So, like, the Harry Potter series is my favorite series of all time. I think it's brilliantly written. So J.K. would be up there. I'm not gonna say J.K. just because everybody my age says J.K. Rowling. So I'm gonna say Pierce Brown. He wrote this series called Red Rising. He's not done with it yet, but I'm a big sci-fi fantasy fan,
Mm-hmm.
and he kind of combines the two.
All right.
And I've talked to you about this.
Yeah,
I think, yeah.
yeah.
And his pacing's great. There's like a lot of war in it, which I love. Star Wars is like my favorite thing ever, and it reminds me a lot of that. There's a lot of Roman tie-ins as well. So I would say Pierce Brown's my
What
favorite.
about you, Jerry?
With Stephen King, without a doubt. Not
Really?
even close. And I haven't read much of his in the last few years. Still doesn't matter. It's not even close. John Grisham, I love, would probably be
Oh,
my
I love
Yeah,
John.
second.
yeah.
James Patterson is very good. Love all those. I've read probably every book, all of those. But Stephen King, without a doubt.
I would have to say now I'm gonna throw a caveat here.
Sure.
I love for authors. No offense, Kevin. I love your work. But as far as well known, hyper well-known authors. Christopher Moore is by far my favorite. If you've never read the book A Dirty Job, by all means read it. It's very similar to Miss Rose. It's very humorous. It's very funny. And then one of my favorite books is The Sum of All Fears. I don't necessarily like Clancy as a writer for everything, but I love that book. And then my second, I'm with you. I love Stephen King. There's not much Stephen King there's the Gunslinger series is the only series of his that I can't read because it bores me to tears. The Stand is by far one of my absolute favorite books.
It
All
is
time.
mine. It is my all-time favorite book.
So about that, Kevin. Now you know everybody's taste.
Yeah.
You're like, well, I didn't need to know all that.
I'm surprised that Brett's wasn't Stephanie Meyer. You're such a Twilight fan.
Twilight. Listen, we had a vampire episode. We talked about Dracula.
Yeah.
And I'd had a few drinks in me, and I talked about Twilight maybe 2 times, and they give me.
We'll never hear the end of it.
Yeah.
So, Kevin, let's shift gears just a little bit.
Sure.
We're going to come back to your new project in just a bit, but we really want to talk about your current book that's out. You can get it on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, everywhere. It's called Signs. The Veil is Thinner Than You Imagine,
Correct.
or than we imagine, and just kind of give us the one-page summary of it, so we can start asking you a lot of questions about it, because it really is a fantastic read. Just to me, I enjoy every bit of it. And it's one of those things that will make you stop and think about everything that's happened in the last 5 years that happened to you weirdly that you didn't really know.
Yes.
So.
Yes. And in fact, I put a quote right in the very beginning of the book. It's been quoted by many people out there. The one I put in the book was done by Stephen Covey. But it says, "We are not human beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience." And when you think about that, it totally flips the paradigm. In doing a lot of the research, what I've kind of found out is, folks have talked about these happenings. Some call them serendipity. Some call them signs. You hear the word miracle thrown around, and I don't mean that to be as negative as it sounds, but to me, it really takes a lot to prove that it was really a miracle from the hand of God. But you hear these things and you hear the stories, and when you dig into them, you find out that, wait a minute, these can't just be coincidence. Something else is happening here. And that's where I am a believer, because of experiences I had, plus the folks I interviewed for the book, that when we pass on, we don't go into nothingness. We go on to the next realm, which is the realm we came from. And that's the spiritual realm. Now, folks can get, biblical and start talking about, all right, but wait a second, God says this, we're going to all be risen up at the end times, etc. I don't know as much as I believe that, as I believe when we pass on, our spirit, our entity moves on. Now, what happens after that and end times, I haven't really correlated all that in my mind. But for now, I know my parents have passed on, my brother has passed on. I've received communications from them. And there's no other way I can describe it other than they had come to me for a purpose. Now, some of this could be directed because I would ask questions aloud. Some of it could be coming to me or have come to me through dreams. Others have come to me. I see the same set of numbers showing up repeatedly. And that's the numbers 1, 2, 3 or 1, 2, 3, 4. In fact, and I think I might have mentioned this on the last podcast, I can't recall, but a week before the Signs book launched, I go in and get my car serviced. I get the bill, and there's the tax, $12.34. When you think about seeing these repeatedly, then you've got to ask the question, why are you seeing it? And what is causing you to see them? And there's so many other ways that you can receive these messages. And I go into those in the book. I also describe the book as a bit of a primer, because I do talk about a lot of various ways you can receive signs so that you can begin to recognize them. I talk about the history of it. I go back to the days of the Druids, the Egyptians, the Romans. I go to cultures of Japan, China, India, the Norse, and I bring all that in because I'm finding very similar things. In fact, the Norse talk about thin places, which is where the two worlds, if you will, come together and they can receive the communications. So when I see these and see it throughout time and the experiences I've had and the interviews I've done, I got to call a timeout and say, wait a second. There is so much more than just our mortal body we live in. We were put here. We all have to figure out our purpose. And by the way, I'm still working on mine. And when we go on to the next realm. So these are the stories I put in to the book. I've talked to folks that were in the Twin Towers on 9/11 and the buildings collapsing down around them. And the one gentleman, Ron DeFrancesco, he hears a voice telling him to go through it and get out, but there's nobody around him. And he goes down through 3 floors that can only be described as hell because there's fire, smoke, debris. But he manages to make it down to the first floor because that voice told him to go through it and get out. And I talked to another guy. You probably heard of the Carolina Reaper pepper. That
Yeah.
guy, he was an addict at a very young age, but he was a functioning addict, drugs and alcohol. And one day he decides, I just want to end the pain. He's in Michigan. It's January. It's cold and snowy outside. He opens up all the doors to his apartment. Well, it's a condo, actually. Opens up all the doors and the windows. I asked him, why did you do that? And the only answer he could give me was, well, if the drugs and alcohol didn't cause the end of the pain, maybe the cold would. But then he sees a vision at the front door. Bright. I mean, this was a huge bright light, but the vision of an entity was brighter than all the light around it. And this is what he's seeing. And all that vision told him to do was go to Brighton Hospital. Come to find out, and he gets up afterwards, he goes to the door. There's no footprints. There's snow out there, but there's no footprints. What was that vision? Well, he followed, the advice. He went to Brighton Hospital. Come to find out, it's a rehab hospital. Almost 3 years later, he's totally rehabbed. He moves down to the Carolinas and starts developing peppers.
Wow.
And one thing led to the next. He's now developed a new one called Pepper X.
Yeah,
And when you talk about hot, guys, a jalapeno is between 2,500 and 8,000 Scoville heat units. The Carolina Reaper is about 1.4 to 1.6 million Scoville heat units.
Yeah, y'all tried to make me eat
Hold
that,
on,
by the
hold
way.
on. He's going to get to Pepper X. What is it?
Pepper X is 2.4 million Scoville heat units.
I've had a
When you-
Carolina Reaper, like this raw, and it blistered my mouth.
When you talk to your buddy, tell him Mr. Steve would like some Pepper X.
No, thank you. Listen, so I got to tell this. You brought the peppers up, so I got to tell this story because it's funny. So my kids always had a friendly competition amongst them. My oldest son had a very high tolerance. He's much like my wife could eat pretty much anything that you put in front of him. My middle son, not so much. So we had habanero peppers, which, they're somewhere around the 500,000 and a little higher, depending on the pepper. Peyton got it, ate it, was nothing. Didn't even break a sweat. And then so my middle son Joshua was like, if he's gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. I'm like, Joshua, no. And he just took a huge chunk. And he's sitting there and he takes like 2 chews. And you could just see the blood drain from his face. And he's like, oh, Daddy, that was a mistake. So he just starts chugging milk. He got so sick from that. But that was fun. He deserved it.
They're nothing to fool around with. I don't even want to get near them. And I typically like hot stuff, but nope, not even going to come close to them.
Kevin, one of our great sponsors is Smoking Gun Jerky out of Lincoln, Nebraska. And many of their flavors have
a little bit of heat.
They have some heat, and a lot of them have your friend's peppers in there.
Yes.
Many of them have the Carolina Reaper in there. And these 2 knuckleheads, it doesn't bother them a bit. Maybe a little bit, Brett. They try to make me eat that stuff, and I'm a pansy. I'm just going to be honest. If it's above black pepper, I start sweating. So
you sweat on black pepper.
Shut your face, Jerry.
Well, I first saw that on a Mike Rowe podcast. He was interviewing, the gentleman's name is Ed Curry. He was interviewing Ed, and he went down to Ed's factory. All the workers there, they just have that little cloth, that they would put around people with beards and stuff like that. And by the way, most of them are ex-convicts. He's helping get them straight and all this, so he's really doing good.
Fantastic.
Well, Mike Rowe's walking around in the powder dust that's being made from all this. He's coughing and choking and hacking. All these other guys are just there, hum, doing their work.
First of all, we need more people like that.
Yes.
We did a show a couple of years ago at this point about why the recidivism rate of prisons is so high. And it's because those guys don't have an opportunity like this. They don't have a job to go to. They don't have some sort of stability to grab into. And so kudos to your friend for that.
Yeah. I'm amazed when the folks can do that and they turn their life around. God bless them.
And, there's that 2 or 3% that just don't, and they don't want to, and that's what they are. But most of those folks, if given half a chance, will do everything they can do to be better.
Yes.
I firmly believe that. And if I'm ever proven wrong on that, then I will be very sad for humanity, to be honest. So you talk about in the book about the veil and how it's thin or at least permeable. Can you give some descriptions of what you mean by that?
Well, that is the way that we receive these communications. And that's why I kind of said, well, the veil is thin so that those communications can come through. And I mean, you can, as I've mentioned, you can receive them through dreams. That's where a lot of people receive them. You can receive them through, I want to say it's nature. Different things happening. For example, in the American Indian culture, hummingbirds or birds, a lot of different ones, took on different meanings. And hummingbirds, depending on the color of them, brought different meaning. And for them, the cardinal was extremely special, just like the American eagle was. But they coveted the feathers of the cardinal because they believed that contained the dead warrior's spirit. And the live Indians would put it in their headbands because they thought it would give them that much more strength. So these were different ways that they interpreted the signs that were being presented to them. So that's where I get into the veil is thin that we can receive those communications. And I'll give you one personal example myself, and I've got a number of them, but this involved my brother. He passed on at an early age, just before he was 59. And one night, I'm having a dream, and he comes to me in the dream. Now, my brother and I were close, and I really missed him. I was shaken up pretty bad when I got the news that he had passed away suddenly. He had come to me in the dream, and we were walking the mall at, the holiday time. And we were talking as brothers do. I can remember, I mean, vividly what he looked like, the shirt he had on, what he said. All of it was extremely vivid. Now, the reason the mall plays into this is that at one point in time, I had a sideline business, which was janitorial maintenance. And my brother and I, would go into the malls after stores were closed and do all the prep necessary for the next day. It could be cleaning, hauling out trash, straightening, whatever was required. And, we signed contracts with them, and I would do what was stated on there. Well, at holiday time, after we finished our work, now this could be 10:30, 11 o'clock, maybe even midnight. All the decorations were still going in the mall. My brother and I would just walk it and see all the decorations, nobody around, and we would chit chat. This, to me, was my brother coming to me, letting me know everything is A-okay. Don't worry about it. He's fine. Everybody's doing well. And
Wow.
I woke up very comforted by that. And when I did the research on this, the dream state goes way back. I mean, even the Romans had a law on the books that if you, as a member of the Roman society, had a dream that involved the empire, you had to go to the nearest forum as quick as you could and let people know about the dream, because they believed so much that these were communications coming to them that it could help them strengthen or fortify the empire. And this was a
They
law on the books at that time. So when I say it's thin, it's because those communications can come through, and they can also go back the other way. In the my second book, which talked about my memoir with Rosemont, Minnesota, teenage years in my shoes, there was a picture I was hunting for, and my wife and I both knew we had this picture, and I couldn't find it. And this was during COVID. We had all the pictures laid out on the dining room table. We went through everyone. I can't tell you how many times we went around that dining room table, the two of us, looking and pulling the pictures apart. And I made calls out to the Minnesota Historical Society looking for this picture. I couldn't find mine. Well, they didn't have it. They would love to get one, but they don't have that. And what it was the motel that my parents and our family stayed in when we moved to Minnesota, when my dad's job was transferred there. And what was unique about that motel is it actually had an airplane, looked like a Cessna, but it wasn't a Cessna, but had that sitting on the roof of the lobby. And so very unique. And that was the airplane that the owners of that hotel used to fly. But when it was decommissioned, they had it brought up onto the roof of the motel. So we had that. I got so frustrated. I just said, Mom, Dad, Butch, I'm looking for that picture. Can you point me in the direction, find it, show it to whatever? Can you do that? About a week goes by. I'm back walking around that table. There's a frame sitting near the corner of the table. The glass is not in the frame. It's sitting up on top. And I'm thinking, all right, I don't remember that. I've been around this table several times. I lift the glass up because I noticed something inside, and there was a stack of photos, maybe 8 to 10 photos. I thumbed through it. There is the picture I had been searching for.
Wow.
I
Crazy.
come out, I show my wife. She said, "Where'd you find it?" I said, "On the dining room table." She says, "No, honestly, we looked at that. Where did you find it?" I said, "Come with me." And I showed her. She even looked at it and said, "Wait a minute. No, no, no. Something happened. Something went on." Now, I'll give you one more quick one. And this involved my wife and I, but it also involved my best friend from high school. Him and his wife were up for a visit. We're playing dominoes at the kitchen table. My wife's fiddling with her earring as she does when she's thinking. The earring come off its backing. Fell. She gets up and looks for it. Can't find it. We halt the game. We get up and look for it. We can't find it. That night, she goes to bed. She brushes her hair. She shakes out her clothes. Nothing. And she was feeling very upset by this because that was a gift to her. So the next morning, we come down to the kitchen, have breakfast. We had breakfast at the island. We wiped the island down and then left for the day. Came back home around 5 o'clock, opened the door. I'm the first one in. Everyone's filing in behind me. We get to the kitchen. My wife says, "You found the earring." I'm looking. "I just got here. What do you mean I found it?" She points to the island. Sitting on the island is the earring. We're empty nesters. Our kids work. We had young grandkids at the time. My buddy and his wife look at it and said, and his wife said, "We cleaned that island off this morning after breakfast. There was nothing on it." But
Wow.
there sat the earring.
Wow.
That earring was a gift to my wife from my mom, who had passed away not too long before then.
Wow.
Now,
What about Northwestern University having developed the ability to communicate to a person who is in REM state sleep in the middle of lucid dreaming? Have you followed that at all, Kevin?
I have not, no.
It's pretty darned amazing. It's the first time that it's ever been done. And they're able to not only do that, but they are able to, with I guess the diodes that they put on a person's head, they're actually able to record on a computer what the person is dreaming as they're dreaming it.
What?
Yeah.
When was this?
This is all
Published.
came out very like within the last couple of weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
That
pretty
is
crazy.
interesting. Now,
I'm pretty sure I don't want everybody knowing what's going on in my brain when I'm dreaming.
No.
If they could do that, could they do that when you're awake? I mean, I'm assuming.
Well,
right?
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I mean, Neuralink's a thing, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
here's what I don't get. I mean, your brain is active and there's different wavelengths going on. How is it taking those wavelengths and then creating from that what you're dreaming about or thinking?
Right.
So the article says, since we're talking about dreams,
Mm-hmm.
researchers at Northwestern University have achieved two-way communications with individuals while they are lucidly dreaming. This groundbreaking method allows scientists to interact with dreamers in real time, potentially expanding our understanding of consciousness and the cognitive processes during sleep. This study opens new avenues for exploring how the mind operates in the dream state and could lead to innovative learning techniques.
I
Interesting.
read this. These individuals can follow instructions, answer questions, and perform simple tasks like math problems while still asleep.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yep. Well,
insane.
I'll go back, guys, to when I was in grade school. There was some theories then that if you were playing a tape recorder while you're sleeping, that you would retain that kind of information. And believe it or not, I would do that for some of the tests. I would record a lot of stuff and then I just play it over and over again. And then when I went to bed, when it played through, it would just stop. So I don't know if that was truth or not, but what you're talking about, Steve, kind of ties right in along with that.
Yeah, I don't. I think it's pretty amazing, and I think that as we continue to progress as humans, as we continue to dig into our psyche, and we've interviewed a lot of folks, and we've talked to a lot of folks, and we've done a lot of stories about how we and everything around us and everything in the world is energy based.
Yes.
And as we continue to learn in that respect, I think that this is a whole different level that is going to grow and continue to grow.
Well,
I just hope that it's not growing in a position to where the man, if you will, and I'm using air quotes, can use that against the normal person.
yeah,
Because
and that's
ultimately
the danger
that's where
on
it will
it.
come to.
That's
Huh?
the danger.
It really is. Maybe call me a conspiracy theorist or talking to Clay too much, Clay Davis, but I think that if that is a power that can be had, that it's a power that somebody's going to want and will try to
Absolutely.
Oh,
will
You
try to
mentioned
have
the
it.
man, I assume you're
absolutely.
thinking of the government, but whether it's the government or just a doctor you're working with who doesn't know how he's going to make the mortgage payment, and you offer him some very easy blackmail material,
Right.
just so many ways that could be
Oh,
misused.
and
So
Jerry, you talked about AI and its growth. The way I kind of see things right now is it used to be technology would go along like this, and I think what was it, Moore's law, that it would
Right.
double every couple of years. Well, with AI, now they're talking about it no longer going along like this at a little incline. They're talking about it goes whoop and then straight up with what it can do. And if we involve that with some of the things Steve's talking about, wow.
well,
It's
Wow.
quite scary.
one of the things that scared me the most, and I've kind of been trying to keep up with AI because you can ask Jerry, I'm a little paranoid about it. Not gonna lie. I enjoy it. I use it. I am the guy that Sarah Connor's looking at because I'm dillying in it and I'm sticking a toe in. But with the capabilities of Grok 4 as an example, um, coming from Elon's mouth, now it's his program, but he's by far says it's the strongest and most powerful AI developed ever in
Mhm.
human history. Um, but even beyond that, we are still only at stage 2 of AI development.
Yes.
Stage 3 is self awareness. And when we get to that, I have real concerns. And there seems to be no effort on the part of any state or anybody who has the power to do so to rein that in at any level.
I think your first and biggest mistake is to assume that anyone can rein it in.
Well,
Yeah.
I agree. At this
I
point, I
don't
think
think
it's
it
too
can
late.
be.
Well, I think it wasn't it part of the big beautiful bill that it was like 10 years we can't regulate any sort of AI.
You're missing the point. You can
No, I
regulate.
know.
You can regulate AI in America.
Right, but it's not gonna work in
That
China.
doesn't work
Right.
in Canada, much less China,
Right.
Or North Korea.
or the countries that don't give a crap about us in the first place.
Or anybody, really,
Yep.
other than themselves. I didn't mean to get off terribly off topic, Kevin, but you being an author, AI plays a very prominent role in the future. I mean, whether we want it to or we don't want it to,
Yeah.
how humans spend their time and what they spend their time doing, AI has a huge generation of that, whether it's videos or books or, take your pick. But I personally like a good human author because they tend to understand the human condition, whatever that condition may be at that
Yes.
particular point.
Yeah, we
So-
can bring the emotion into it.
Yeah.
And I was just seeing a posting talking about AI, and when we used to think about this, we would think about, all right, it would take over doing the housework, doing the laundry, doing the lawn mowing. so that we could spend the time doing the more creative things. Well, it's almost like, flipped. It's now
Right.
doing a lot of the stuff, the art. I mean, it does drawings. It's doing the writing. It's talking that who knows in the future what this is going to do for medicine and telemedicine, because you could train and create your own AI bots, and they could actually be the telemedicine doctor that you could be talking to, and you just won't know. And that's the scary part.
I think that I saw a video the other day of a guy who had an AI on one phone and he connected it to an AI on a different phone. It was two different AI programs.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as the AIs realized that they were both AIs, they switched to a completely different language. That's pretty scary.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, would you like to? And I forget what the language was, gurglese or whatever. And then you could just, it sounded like two machines talking to each other.
Mm.
It's kind of crazy. We're living in a weird time, Kevin.
We
Living in a
really
weird time.
are. And here's an interesting thing. Just my last kind of comments with AI. I've had a couple of discussions with my AI on ChatGPT, and we got onto religion. And I was asking it a lot on Revelation and end times, because you keep seeing all this. Are we in the end times now? And it, by the time I got done asking it all these questions, it kind of brought me back to Genesis. And I asked it, I said, wait a minute, we're talking about end times. You're now bringing me back to the beginning. And it stated, we cannot fully understand the end times until we understand what we've gone through to get to there.
Makes sense.
The beginning. And that was kind of just what you said, Steve. That made a lot of sense to me, and it kind of took me back. It came back with that and figured it and told me. And I'm thinking,
Wow.
whoa, it gets a little bit too involved, whereas then I have to back away and say, no, I'm going to just, come back to my reality here. I'm going to form it and shape it the way I want to. I'll use you, AI, as a tool.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you better be nice. At least say please and thank you.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And besides that, I found another thing you need to do. Always be polite, but always ask it, is there anything else you need from me in order to do the task I've assigned?
Oh, that's a good question. Good
And
question.
utilizing that, it's come back and said, okay, I do need this, or sometimes it just said, nope, you've given me enough.
Wow.
So, Kevin, the name of the book is The Veil.
Signs, the veil is thinner than we imagine.
Perfect.
And it is out all over the place. I've even found it on Walmart.com, Target.com. You can get it Amazon, Barnes and Noble. You can order it. You can even go to your local library and ask and request from them to order it, and they can get it. It's out in paperback as well as in ebook.
That is fantastic. Kevin, we hope that you come back when your new book finally has a title. We want to talk all about that, because that is even though it doesn't necessarily fall into what we do here,
Yep.
it's certainly help us and help other podcasters and authors. And we want to have you back, Kevin. And we appreciate you coming in, man.
Hey, I've really enjoyed it, guys. I love coming back on this. I have a lot of fun when I do, and it's really great to talk with you all once again.
That was an interesting episode, but our journey isn't over yet. If you stay tuned, we have an exciting bonus story coming up after this commercial break.
Hi, this is Ed Locke with USA Mortgage. When it comes to buying a home, the process can be overwhelming and confusing. With so many options, it can be hard to know where to start. That's why it's important to work with a certified mortgage loan originator. I have the knowledge and expertise to guide you through the process and find the best mortgage option for you. I will work with you every step of the way to ensure that you are getting the best deal possible. So if you're looking to purchase or refinance, please reach out to me at 502-680-0953. So don't take on the stress of buying a home alone. Work with me and I will make your dream a reality. Trust the professionals and make your home buying experience a positive one. MLS ID 448908, DAS Acquisition Company, LLC, doing business as USA Mortgage, MLS ID 227262. This is not a commitment to lend. Additional terms and conditions apply. USA Mortgage is equal housing opportunity.
If you would like to share suggestions for future episodes, an intriguing ghost story, or simply tell us how much you love or hate us, please get in touch with us. You can reach us via email at newsworthywithstephencherry@gmail.com or send us a text at area code 540-709-1318.
And now, back to the story. The legendary Tanawa is an important legend in indigenous Midori culture. The creature has appeared in Midori stories all the way in various ways, sometimes as a whale or a shark, other times even as a gecko or lizard, and still other times as a floating log, which is probably most likely the case. The beast is often described as wearing a Polynesian mask, and no matter what form it takes. Midori stories suggest that some Tanawa were protective and good, while others were destructive and evil. Some would rescue swimmers caught in crashing breakwaters or strong currents in the ocean. Others would cause landslides or seemingly other natural disasters, sometimes carrying tribespeople off in the middle of the night and eating them. As legend has it, the individual Tanawa would develop strong connections to individual Midori tribes, whether serving as a guardian to the tribe or as a mischievous demon who would heckle the tribe and cause problems. Once a Tanawa had selected a group of Midori, it would become well known to that tribe and would follow it for decades. The connection between Tanawa and the Midori tribes has become so important to Midori culture that in 2002, the Ngut Naho tribe successfully argued in court that Transit New Zealand must reroute plans for a new road so as not to place the road in the direct path of where its Tanawa lived. Today's episode brought to you by our great sponsors, Ed Locke at USA Mortgage and Smoking Gun Jerky of Lincoln, Nebraska. Use code CRYPTID10 for a great discount. And Jerry, if you can't see the light,
Be the light.